Gordon Bird here. Monday, 5 short-fin pilot whales beached themselves at Redington Beach in Pinellas County, right on the Gulf. 3 of them are now back out to sea. 2 of them are under the care of Clearwater Marine Aquarium, whose CEO, David Yates, has found time in a very busy day as a result of all this activity to join us. David Yates, good day to you.
Oh, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
First, tell us about the facility where these 2 pilot whales are recovering.
Yes, this is a brand new, what we call a stranding facility or rehab facility for cetaceans that we literally just got certified and opened up about 30 days ago. The funny thing is we were going to have a big public grand opening, but these whales kind of trumped us a little bit. So it got used before we told the public what we have there. But this is a brand new facility in Fred Howard Park in Tarpon Springs. It's a non-public area. It's a private area. And the property was donated by Pinellas County as a great partner in doing this. So this allows us to have do cetacean, obviously dolphins, and whale rehab right in our area. It's brand new. We got it open 30 days ago. We have 2 pilot whales in it right now as we speak, as you mentioned.
And I imagine that it's having to deal with cetaceans, whales, and dolphins. That's a pretty big facility.
It is. Yeah, the pool is adequate to hold 2 or 3 animals for what we call the rehab process, not for long-term care. It's really what you might call critical care. And anytime we have a cetacean we have to bring back in for that process, they will go in this. If they need to go for long-term care, they will go into a different facility. But this is, again, it's a non-public area. And think of it as an ER. It's really an ER for cetaceans in that sense. And our job is to figure out any issues they might have, what's going on. And with these 2 particular whales that we have there right now, as you mentioned, we had 5 whales that stranded themselves. 3 were able to release the same day yesterday on 3 different boats about 5 or 6 miles out. And the other 2, because they're a little bit younger, we want to take a look and make sure they were okay. What you don't want to do is release an animal back into the wild that has any kind of medical issue. So we're checking on that. We'll have more. We don't have any data yet. We'll have more data tonight, but there's no reason to believe they have any major issues. So the goal that we have is to, once we have medical clearance of these 2 pilot whales, is to take them out and actually get them in the same general area that we're tracking the other 3 so they can get back together again as a pod. That's the goal. It's contingent upon, A, medical clearance on these 2, and 3, knowing that the other 3 that are satellite tagged are going in an area we feel is a proper area for them, and as of right now, they are. These are deep water animals. The Gulf is not a deep water body of water overall, not in every area. So we believe they probably beached because they were a little bit confused with being in a shallow area, and they may have possibly lost their leader at the same time. So we didn't see any real basic, clear medical reason for why they stranded. It could be the case. But we think is probably due to the fact that they're deep water animals in a shallow water body of water.
So not a firm timetable to get the 2 whales that are rehabbing out back into the water at this point. There's still a lot that it's contingent upon, I take it.
Correct. So it's but it could happen very, very quick as long as we feel like that. The goal again is always to get these animals back into their natural habitat as soon as we can. So that's always the goal. So we're not going to delay this any more than we have to. As long as we feel like they're medically clear for what we're trying to accomplish and get them back in the wild, that we won't hesitate. That could happen within 24 hours. So no date set right now, but it could happen pretty quick.
Now, you mentioned the other 3 whales, a little bit of background about that. They were tagged, and they are going to be tracked by Mote Marine Lab down in Sarasota. They have a long-term program of tracking marine mammals. If you want to jump in a little bit about that, I know it's not your organization and not your bailiwick, but a little bit of background.
Yeah, no, we partner with them and some other groups. We tag 3 or 4 animals per year in our own program at Clearwater Marine Aquarium. We've worked with Mote quite a lot. Randy Wells, the team there. Of course, NOAA is our partner in this whole process, and Fish and Wildlife. So it's a very collaborative. Anytime we do something like this as big, it's a very collaborative effort amongst the groups involved in our work. Again, I mentioned NOAA, I mentioned Fish and Wildlife, I mentioned Mote. So we do this a few times a year, and in particular, Randy Wells and Mote are very good at this. So it's kind of a partnership approach we have with them. So we're tracking, and it allows us to really determine where these animals are going. Are they going in the right area? So the concern was if for some reason these animals started coming back to shore, then that would not be a good sign. That means they might strand again. Restranding is a real possibility. But as of right now, last check, they were heading southwest, which is a good sign in that regard.
Indeed. A little bit of background for everyone who is listening, and this podcast is going around the state. Clearwater Marine Aquarium you may be familiar with. I suspect you're definitely familiar with the story of Winter the Dolphin and the Dolphin Tale movies, and it illustrates that rehabilitation of marine mammals is a central core mission at Clearwater Marine Aquarium. David Yates is the CEO there. We're talking to him right now. And Mr. Yates, if you could kind of expand on that, how central that is, how much that is a part of the mission of Clearwater Marine Aquarium.
Sure. We're about five things. We're about what's called rescue, rehab, and release, which is the animal side. We're also about education, conservation, research, and then inspiration, which is the human side. But what we're known best for is what you mentioned, is what's called rescue, rehab, and release. And we're on call 24/7. Our job is to rescue any marine life in the zone that we have under permit from NOAA and Fish and Wildlife. So we're on call 24/7. We have calls coming every day, just like an ER does, and it really is a big part of what we do. And you mentioned Winter the Dolphin story. Winter's a rescued dolphin, so she was rescued a number of years ago. So that aspect of our work is probably the best known part of what we do. And frankly, it's very passion driven. We just love the fact that we can go out and rescue and save these animals, many of which are threatened or endangered species. But it is a big part of what we do. We have hundreds of volunteers that help us spread throughout 3 or 4 county areas. So literally, we can be anywhere in 4 or 5 minutes. And that's what happened with these pilot wells. We got called, and we had staff out there immediately. And so it's also been a big community project for us. You know, this rescue involved the community, the city itself of Redington Beach, Fish and Wildlife, and NOAA, as I mentioned, most. So, but yeah, when we do this kind of work, this really is the core thing that we're known for. It's important work, and we love what we do. So.
David Yates, CEO at Clearwater Marine Aquarium, we thank you very much for joining us here on the podcast.
No problem. Thanks for the time.